And welcome everybody to In the Blue Corner Wednesday night with me, Joe Lutzer, all the way from Bangkok, and
Chris Beach from Melbourne, Australia. Again, we're ready after a week off.
Yes, and you may see Vince Cinzano Lochisano. We've just been talking about that off air. Vince is our very special guest. Vince hosts our Sunday night show with Steve. Do we call you Vince or Cinzano? Which would you
call
prefer?
me whatever you like. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, right.
That's good.
That's all right. That's okay. So, Vince and Chris,
thank you for inviting me on, boys.
That's okay. As Eddie Maguire always says, a week's a long time in football, but we've had two. And,
yes,
been interesting. We've had the Melbourne guys having a little lovers' quarrel, so shall we say? And that's very interesting. Geez, imagine if they liked each other, they'd probably be undefeated instead of belting each other.
I think a few little cracks are starting to appear in the Melbourne armoury at the moment. They have lost the last couple of games. Stephen May hasn't played in either of those, and
he's not playing this week either.
No, he won't be playing this week either against Collingwood, so that's a huge blow to Melbourne. He is so important in that defence that when he doesn't play, it really does expose them for key position defenders. And while he and Jake Lever have a very strong partnership when they both play, when one of them is out, especially when it's May that's out, I find the other one struggles to have the same impact. So Melbourne, I think they're probably yearning for the bye. This will be their 13th game in a row coming up this weekend. So they'll be one of the last 6 teams to have a bye. And I think it can't come soon enough for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they get done by Collingwood on Monday.
Do you know something?
Anyway, it'll be a good game. There's one thing for sure. It'll be a very hot contest.
Just to interrupt you then, Vince, sorry. I'm going to take you back to 1995. Carlton, unbeatable, 10 games. Everyone said, they're home. And then they lost to the Swans and St Kilda, two teams down the bottom of the ladder, not up the top. I think there might be a little bit of betting going on with some Indian bookmakers.
I think you'll find that we won 7 in a row, then we lost 2 in a row,
and then didn't lose another one,
and then we won the following 16 games until the end of the season, including the grand final. I don't know that Melbourne are guilty of that. I wouldn't go making that accusation just flippantly the way you have.
No, they might have got good odds, Vince.
I'm not saying I'd rule it out, but unless you've got some cold hard evidence, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that they're tanking when top spot is up for grabs. I mean, if they get done by Collingwood and Brisbane happen to win their next game, well, they could forego top spot on the ladder. And Fremantle have beaten both Melbourne and Brisbane in the last 2 weeks, and that's very convincing for them. They seem to have turned. They had a couple of losses in a row, if you remember.
Yeah.
Unexpected losses. I think one was to Gold Coast, I think, and one was at home to Collingwood, and it was like they were getting the wobbles. Now it looks like Melbourne's getting the wobbles, but it's hard to keep a continuous run of victories going for the whole season. I mean, we've hardly ever seen a season where someone's been able to do that. We did it in 95 with 2 losses. I think Essendon in 2000 only had the 1 loss to the Western Bulldogs. I think that still remains a record. Very hard to keep that momentum going all the way through. It's almost a bit of a pressure release when it finally happens and you lose one. Because then you don't have this constant, now it's 13 in a row, now it's 14 in a row, now it's 15 in a row.
So, talking of that, and big shout out to Rich Hussain, DJ Hussain. How are you,
a
Rick?
big hello to Rash over there. He's gone back to Dubai, I believe. So
has he? I didn't know that. But
yes,
I'll
he
have
was
to speak to him
he was
later.
in Melbourne for a good 6 months or so, but I believe he's now gone back. So all the best to him.
I was watching a show on YouTube the other day. It's about an American high school football team. The name of if you watch it, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was De La Salle College, and they had a streak of 150 wins in a row.
And this is a US team?
Yeah, US high school football team.
Well, we've got a De La Salle College in Melbourne.
I know, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Hey, listen, before we do go on with anything, I just want to say something. Monday is, I'm here in Bangkok, so it's Queen's birthday. Is that right? For the big game? No.
Yeah.
Yep.
For those of you who haven't, get yourself into the MND, buy the beanie, support.
It's $25. It's a great cause.
Yeah, my sister's coming to Thailand next week. Yeah, and she said she's bought me one. So, it's a great cause, and it's and also you got David Rees-Jones with his son, who's got that.
Yes,
I don't know the name.
Prader-Willi syndrome.
Prader-Willi, yeah. So he's interviewed Bruce Dool. We'll look forward to that interview. I hope Bruce just don't take his headband off.
He's a great man, Bruce, but doesn't do too many interviews from what I can tell.
No.
It must have been a very good cause for him to agree to speak publicly.
Well, it is. I'm sure he's probably a caring human being and a good team man. So, Vince, I know that you and Steve spoke about the game on your Sunday show.
The previous Sunday, we all had a week off last week, Joe.
Yeah,
even Steve and I had a week off on Sunday.
Even we'll say to Chris and I, even we get a bye too. But Chris, since we haven't seen you, what were your thoughts about the Carlton-Collingwood game?
Well, first of all, I'll quickly say that I was one of the few thousand fortunate that was there to watch a classic rivalry between us and them. What I would like to call them is probably not quite appropriate at this time of night, but anyway, look, fact is, it was a good game. We were with them for pretty much most of it. Wiedering went down. Wiedering going down did not help us one way or another, but we stuck up the fight. Our midfield went right with them for most of it, and had it been for one kick that was probably a little bit more accurate from Silvani, or a free kick to Walsh that was high, it's a win.
Yeah, can't rely on the free kick. But when I was speaking about this off air, Vince, I think that was a game that we really shouldn't have dropped. I thought we seemed to have a lot of the ball. We just couldn't convert. I don't know if it was our small forwards or, we were too Charlie-centric. What did you and Stu say?
No doubt it was a winnable game. Look, we've been on the positive side of these close games all year and managed to come up, up trumps every time up until that game. Eventually, when you fly close to the wind like that often enough, eventually you're going to drop one. Full credit to Collingwood. They ended up winning the game, but I think considering how many players we had out even before the game started, and then to lose Wiedering in the first quarter meant that we were really up against it for personnel. Some people are saying no excuse. We didn't play well for most of the game. And look,
positive, I guess.
Well, it depends on whether you want to look at the glasses half full or half empty. Well, I think it was a very good effort to keep staying in the game, and even when Collingwood kicked away there in that last quarter, I think they got 23 points up. We never gave in, and we kept the fight going right till the last whistle. And with a bit of luck, you never know, with the right umpiring decision in that last few seconds, we may have been able to pinch it again. But
Peter's got a comment. I agree with it. Yeah, Peter, that's what I'm saying. The positive, we did fight.
Shouldn't have never went to that point. First goalless third. Yes, that's true. The first goalless third quarter of the year. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Peter's always a great contributor. Thanks for your comments there,
and hi,
Pete.
Gina. Welcome, Gina.
Hi, Gina. Yes.
Good evening.
Look, I think he makes a good point. There were patches in that game where we weren't impressive. I thought our second quarter was excellent, but for some reason after halftime we came out and we were outplayed in that third quarter. And as Peter mentioned, it was a goalless quarter, first time for the year. So something seems to change at halftime. I'm not sure what or why. But
maybe they
the last quarter we came back at them again.
Maybe it's the blue cordial they drink instead of the raspberry cordial.
Look, I don't know, but
and Gina's partner in crime. Hello, Lana. Gina and Lana.
Yes. Hello, Lana. Nice to see you. I think, look, I still think it was a fairly brave effort. I'm more in the side that's in the camp that says, considering everything, it was a very good effort to stay that close. Yes, it hurts to lose, and yes, it hurts to lose, especially to that mob, because we hate losing to Collingwood. But we'll get our chance for revenge in round 23. I'm sure we'll make a big fist of it.
I've just put Richie's message up. Beachy and I were talking about that before.
What's that? American Pie killed us.
Yeah, Mason Cox.
There's one good game.
Beachy and I say his name should be Santa because he only comes once a year. He only has one bloody good game a year. And he decides to have it against us. Sorry?
Did you say Santa comes only once a year?
Yeah. He comes at Christmas time.
Aren't you glad you're not Santa? Anyway, tell us.
And better to be the tooth fairy. He comes a lot more. All right?
All right.
This is a family program, Vince.
Yes,
I don't know what you and Steve.
Hello, all the little kids out there that are watching.
And we'll get onto this bit in a minute about Marchie, and we'll talk about our. We'll get onto the team
good
selection.
Point. Great, and I mentioned that on my show with Steve. Is that I felt that Marchbank was going well enough already in the VFL, and already stamping his class on those games to suggest to me that he would be ready to come straight back in. And as it turns out, that's exactly what they're going to do. Just
going back to the Collingwood game, I thought DeGoey lined up Wiedering. If you have a look at the extra vision. He lined him up. He made no intentions to get the ball. He just wanted to crash the pack. That was his I thought
he was bracing himself in self-defense more than anything, because I thought Wiedering was coming towards him, and I think he just braced himself and stood his ground. And if you have a look at the replay, I think he stood his ground. I'm not gonna have a go at him just because his name's DeGoey or just because he wears a Collingwood jumper. I felt Wiedering attacked him and came off worse because DeGoey braced himself and had a very strong shoulder position at the time. And Wiedering just came off the worst in a bad collision. But anyway.
And just a big shout out to all the Collingwood supporters that are watching us at Lara Penal Establishment with no teeth. We will get onto this. Rich, I don't know enough about A, Tom Williamson, or B, mental health. I'm not a mental health expert. We all suffer depression.
We should have had Rash come on and talk about it because he is an absolute authority and an expert on mental health.
I do know. I have met the Williamson family once. One of my ex-girlfriends, and there's not that many, was from.
That's not what I heard.
He's from a town just outside Ararat. Her father was very involved in the local football. They're a very popular family up there. But,
staying nice and close to the Ararat penitentiary as well.
Yeah, but no.
So they don't have far to walk.
But that's not a jail. That's for mentally insane. The Ararat. So I don't know.
Oh no, hang on. I thought there was a jail there.
Yeah, it is, but it's for those that are deemed to be mentally unstable or whatever. But
we've heard a few occasions where prisoners have escaped that jail in the last decade or so.
It's not very secure. But I'm not a big mental health expert, but I mean, it's serious enough for him to take some time off.
Look, we don't know what demons he's battling, and we're all speculating and guessing unless we know him personally, or unless we know exactly what it is that's bothering him. But I think all we can say is, look, Tom, you're in our thoughts. We wish you well. We hope that you can overcome whatever mental demons you're trying to put behind you or deal with. We wish him well. I mean, a lot of people think that these footballers live this glamorous life and they're making heaps of money and they're, living the dream, and that they live in this bubble and they have fast cars and fast girls and live that type of life for 10, 15 years. Well, the reality is that the vast majority of them don't live that sort of lifestyle. The vast majority of them are, in fact, not paid tremendously well. And, players like Tom Williamson, who have had to battle a lot of injury and also mental health issues over the period that he's been with us, it's a daily struggle for them. And, he's probably thinking to himself at the moment, where am I going? I haven't had a game this year. I think he might have been the injury sub in round one, and I think that was about it. So he's probably thinking, geez, it's round 12, 13 now. I still don't seem any closer to getting a game. I'm doing the best I can in the VFL, but I'm not, being considered. I'm not even being put in as an emergency most weeks. So maybe he's just battling and struggling with the reality that maybe this could be his last year on our list, and that it might be all over for him. And maybe he's struggling with that. I know that, but it's we don't know what's going through his mind. But put it this way, it's a lot of dedication, a lot of physical exertion to be an AFL footballer, to train and do pre-seasons, and then during the year to come up, and play VFL before you even get to the AFL. And if you're not getting a look in after you had some look, Tom Williamson had a couple of promising years before his debilitating back injury. He had a really bad back injury. But, he has got some talent. I think he had a game last year where he might have kicked a couple of beautiful goals in a game. I'm trying to remember which game it was, but I remember him coming off a wing and having a couple of fantastic goals. And so he has got ability. There's no doubt about that. Maybe he just needs to be given an opportunity.
I thought he'd be a great wingman for us because he's got a raking left foot. And he's pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Lockie O'Brien at the moment seems to have held down that position without necessarily putting a mortgage on it. But Tom Williamson, a little bit in sort of no man's land, not sure where he's going, where he's heading. Is he going forward? Is he going backward? But look, we wish him well, and hopefully he comes back before the end of the year.
Me too. So let's get on to the selections. And I'm going to put one comment up. Beachy and I spoke about this before the show. Does Big H play, right? Now, the rumour is that he's done all the training drills and that he's right to go.
Yep.
Now, Beachy was telling me that the weather forecast is for rain. Is that right?
That is correct.
Friday I know one thing. It'll be damn cold. It's been cold all week, and there's no change to the forecast in that respect.
Not here, mate.
That's the obvious part of that, Vince.
Not here. I personally would not play him. It's not like it's a game that's going to determine, it's not round 21 or 22 that means we're going to get into the final. It's going to be wet, cold. Who we play? Essendon. Then what? 2-9. So I don't think they're playing that well. They'll probably, like Collingwood, save their best game for us, like most teams do. Me personally, I would just say, mate, come to the game, watch, but don't play. Oh, that's me personally, right? I don't want to risk him. Like Gina says, if we were playing a Melbourne or a Brisbane or a Geelong, yes. But Essendon, and this is no disrespect to Essendon, if any Essendon supporters are watching from the cells next to the Collingwood supporters in lower prison, no disrespect. What? You know they've built a special jail just to house Collingwood supporters and one to house Essendon supporters. And the Carlton supporters.
Listen,
the Carlton supporters.
I think you've got Essendon wrong in terms of its suburb and the people that live in Essendon, because it's a very, very nice suburb.
They're junkies.
I happen to live there.
And if Kevin Sheedy wants an apology, go and ask the local dealer on the corner for an apology.
Collingwood, I agree, but Essendon, no. They're not jailbirds.
I said
Collingwood,
supporters.
yes. One day I was at the Collingwood police station. You know that, Joe? And I said to the sergeant, I said, "Listen, how far is it? How long does it take to go from the Collingwood police station to the Collingwood railway station?" And he said, "We don't know. No one's ever made it yet."
I said, Brad's right. The Essendon go down there to get their drugs. Now, Vince, I said supporters, not people that live in Essendon, right?
Do you know the Collingwood police station's got a peephole on the front door?
Yeah, it's like a speakeasy. Do you know my ex-girlfriend that was from Ararat?
Another ex-girlfriend.
No, it's the same one.
Oh,
her family were Essendon supporters, right? And she wanted to buy her dad a Christmas present. Mm-hmm. And I said, "What do you want to buy him?" And she said, "I've got to buy him the box set of Essendon premierships." And I said, "Well, I'm not touching it." And she drove to Windy Hill, which is in Niddrie, and she said to me, "Can you come in and help me?"
No, it's not. It's in Essendon.
It's Niddrie, isn't it?
It's in Essendon.
Whatever, Essendon, Niddrie.
No, it's in Napier Street, Essendon, on the border of Strathmore.
Anyway, I refused to walk into those club rooms. She made the guy come to make sure that she bought the right thing. I said, "I'm not getting out the car." I said, "I wouldn't even piss on that place if it was on fire." And she made the bloke come down to the car to make sure she was buying the right thing. I said, "Get that out of my car." It doesn't. I made her put them in the boot. Essendon should know their rightful place. Anyway, I agree with Peter.
Thanks for sharing that story with us.
From the sewers under the prisons. Bloody Essendon. Give me a break, Kevin Sheedy. Go wave your coat somewhere else, you idiot.
Don't start me. Don't start me, Joe. Don't start me. This is a club that I hate the most. I've got a story of my own, and it's not pretty.
And Vince, you'll agree, we had to wear red and black at Xavier. Oh, God, I hated that.
Yes, we did, indeed, yes.
An Essendon car had 2 memberships on the front seat. One was broken in, two more was added. I agree. we could tell Essendon jokes all day. Yes. You know, busload of Essendon supporters went over the cliff and Vince is there crying. What's wrong, Vince? Busload of Essendon supporters went over the cliff. Why are you so sad? There was 3 empty seats. Anyway, we go.
Yes, we could have fit 3 more in. Okay.
Going back to Big H, I'm not going to risk him.
Look, for what it's worth, I disagree with you. I'm getting very strong feedback and whispers that he will play and that he's right to go. And if he's right to go, why not play him? And regardless of the forecast and all that sort of thing, I think we tend to wrap up these guys in cotton wool too much. They're very well paid professional footballers, and if they're right, they're right. I'm not saying he'll definitely play, but I think there's a very strong push for him to play if he's right.
Yeah.
Don't forget we have a Friday night game, then we have 6-day break, and we play Richmond the following week on a Thursday night.
Well, that's why I'd save him for the.
And that's probably going to be the same forecast, same coldness, same rain. So what are you going to do? Rest him for 2 weeks? No, I disagree. I think if they can play him in both games, I'll play him.
Probably. But the one change that we do know is that, I'll get this right, Beachy, weedering out Marchbank in. Before the show, I kept saying Marchbank out and Wiedering in. I got it right, Beachy. So Wiedering out, Marchbank in. We know that's going to happen.
I'll tell you one other one I predict.
Yeah.
I reckon Jack Martin will come into the side. And someone's going to get dropped. I'm not sure who it is. It could even be someone. It could even be Paddy Dow.
Well, hang on.
Oh, the other one is Matthew Kennedy. Sorry, Matthew Kennedy for Paddy Dow. And I think Jack Martin might come in for one of the for probably one of the three small forwards that's currently there. If I had to take a pick, I'd probably say Motlop.
Yeah. Brad's made a comment about play Sam Durden. The club have said that they're going to play him in the VFL first, just to get him. They don't think that he knows many of the players. Here's an interesting one. Cotterill. Now,
Cotterill's playing. He's been playing.
Yeah, but Brad's saying bring in Jack Martin for Cotterill. Yeah.
Oh, for Cotterill. Well, Cotterill has been playing a role on the wing more than anything else. Yeah, I think, if anything, he has taken. You know whose spot he took in the side, who was in the team at the start of the year, and then has slowly lost all form and gone back to the VFL and has almost been forgotten about. Setterfield. I think Cotterill's done a far better job of playing on that wing. And look, he hasn't got a lot of polish, but geez, he gives you some effort. And he's a good hard runner. He's a gut runner.
Setterfield bloody amazes me. He looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. If you wanted to build a football, he looks a bit like Cooter. Sort of got that same
43. I think you're being influenced by the 43 on his back.
No, I think he's got a big build, but he just I don't know. He doesn't seem to apply himself.
He's a poor man's Cooter. He's nothing like Cooter Feedies.
No. I said he's got a build, right? But he doesn't play like him, and he should be able to dominate. I know. This
I think at this stage of the season, what would be an interesting exercise to ascertain from both of you and our viewers out there, if you want to send in your comments, if the season was to have finished right now at the halfway point, who would you be looking to trade? And if you couldn't get a trade for them, you'd delist them.
Well, let's leave that. Let's talk about the ins and outs.
Maybe everyone can think about that because there's only a half a season left for some of these players to put their best foot forward and to save their careers. And I reckon there's a good handful in our list that are looking like, hey, something's got to change dramatically, or otherwise you're going to be on skid row, so to speak.
Do you know what we need to know though is when their contracts expire. So
well, just assume that everyone's contract expires at the end of the year, right?
I'll try and get it up on a separate screen, right?
Okay,
but just in case. But
and that might even include injured players. Like some people I have heard recently, and in fact even in the last week, say things like, I'm over McGovern. I know he had a couple of great games to start the year, but, he's as soft as butter. He keeps getting injured. If he doesn't come back, bad luck, delist. Now, would you do that, or would you keep him on, or would you trade him? What would you do? So what we want to know is the player's name, whether you keep him, trade him, or delist him.
Well, actually, guys, Joe, while you're doing that, there was a piece.
I've got it.
So have you found the Herald Sun piece on us?
No. When was it?
Today.
Okay.
Oh no, I'll read it later.
I haven't had a chance to look at the Herald Sun yet.
I took some photos of this and sent this to my supporting cousin who, like me, plays keep an eye on us. The following players that are currently going to be out of contract at the end of the year. They are.
I can tell you. Caleb Marchbank, David Cunningham,
that's 2.
Ed Curnow,
3,
Jack Nunes,
4,
Hang on. Liam Stocker, Lockie
5,
O'Brien,
6,
Luke Parks,
7,
Matt Cotterill,
8,
Matt Owies,
9,
Oscar McDonald.
10,
Hang on. I'm still going. Oscar McDonald. My mouse has decided to. Tom Williamson
11,
and Will Setterfield.
12. But there's actually a couple of others here.
Who?
There's Jordan Boyd.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I missed him. Jordan Boyd, yeah.
Jordan Boyd.
So that's 13.
Who?
No, he did mention Ed Kerno. He did.
Yeah, I mentioned Ed. Yeah.
And we're at 13. Lockie Fogarty.
Lachlan. Yeah, Lockie Fogarty. Yep.
14.
Did you not mention him,
No,
Joe?
I didn't mention him, no.
Okay, so that's 14. Yep.
Josh Honey.
Josh Honey. Yeah, I missed him too. My mouse was playing.
There's 15.
I missed the Jays.
It's about a third of the list, Beachy. And I think that what you'll find is that most clubs have got roughly that 45 players on the list. It might be 44, it might be 46, but say 45. And part of list management is for a third of your list to come up every 3 years. So, in the ideal world, you have 15 players contracts coming off at the end of this year, 15 at the end of next year, 15 at the year after that. And that would be the ideal. I mean, it doesn't go like that perfectly every year, but that's the aim of most list managers, is to have a third of the list coming off contract at the end of the year. Yeah. So if you do want to delist those players, you can.
Yeah. Gina's right. Ed Kerno will probably retire.
Ed
Kerno would have served 12 years at the club. After. Yeah. I mean,
12, I think might be a bit more
12.
than that.
No, it says 12.
Sure?
Yeah, 12 years.
Okay. I thought he was there a little bit earlier than 2010, but anyway.
Got to remember, Ed Kerno was on the Adelaide Crows rookie list for a couple of years before us.
Mm.
We picked him up off the Adelaide Crows rookie list.
Yeah.
So
okay,
but we'll go through that later on. But I'm thinking for this week's game.
Yeah.
Well, Jacob out, replaced with Marchie.
Yeah.
So we all think one of the small forwards will go out for Jack Martin, and then we think one of Lockie O'Brien, Jack Nunes, or Paddy Dow will make way for Kennedy. I think we missed Kennedy a lot.
Yeah. No doubt. If we had Kennedy against Collingwood, would have made a world of difference as well. He has been an elite midfielder for us this year, and it's no wonder that we offered him a 3-year contract to stay, and I think that's well deserved by Matt Kennedy. He just hung on, didn't he? He was literally delisted and then given a lifeline via a rookie listing last year, and halfway through the season, he hadn't played a game. And then I believe he came back against his old side, GWS, and since that game, he has not looked back. He's been fabulous.
No, he grabbed the opportunity. Brad, I'd like to put that comment up, but without the fire truck comment, he reckons fire truck Owies.
Yeah,
off.
let's keep it decent, shall we, everyone?
Yeah, let's keep it civil.
Can I
you
just
don't
say
have
that,
you
Brad?
don't have to use
expletives
to get your message across.
I just want to say to Brad, why does he want Owies out? I mean, I don't see the games as much, you know.
To be frank, I even heard Rocco from the Jumper Punch talking about this on his show last week.
Yeah.
Owies, up until that couple of goals he kicked in the last quarter, he kicked a couple in a row, really. He'd done very little. And, you can't afford to have a player having little or no impact for 3.5 quarters. Now, what he did in the end, you remember, because it was in the last quarter. And it was when the game was on the line, and he kicked a couple of goals that put us back in contention. But you've got to get more out of your forwards than that, than just that 5-minute stint.
And this is what Brad says: too slow and doesn't do enough, which is what Rocco was saying. Brad, you're probably right. I mean, we've got Carroll, Durden,
I think that's the other one.
Phil?
Carroll got a game because of the injury to Wiedering.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind betting, Beachy, that Carroll gives way because I think at times in that Collingwood game, I don't know how you viewed it, Beachy, but I just felt that Carroll was left wanting and really looked a bit out of sorts and lacked a bit of class there, and it was all a bit above him, if you know what I mean. I think he looked a bit like a rabbit in the spotlights.
I think you mean a deer in the headlights there, Vince.
Or deer in the headlights, whatever. Same sort of thing.
Exactly. It's still the same thing. Look, Carroll, when I saw his debut, I thought he was quite good. You know, we were playing North Melbourne. Carroll against Collingwood, big crowd, big game,
big occasion.
rivalry.
Yeah.
He's
he
only
might have been
19.
overawed.
And look, the kid, don't get me wrong, the kid shows a lot of promise, right? And he'll probably eventually establish himself. But I just think he may need some more time in the VFL getting his confidence back. And, he got dropped for the Collingwood game and then was made the injury sub and eventually got that opportunity into the first quarter because of the Wiedering injury. But he looked out of sorts to me.
Yeah, that's
out of his depth.
Out of his depth. What about Lewis Young? I guess he probably keeps his spot because of 2 metre Pete.
Well, not only that, Joe, but he's literally, the last, tall option in a key defensive post that we've got. We've lost Wiedering, we've lost McGovern, we've lost Oscar McDonald. Sam Durden, yes, but obviously they feel like throwing him in there into the fire too early might kill his confidence if he gets towelled up by a 2 metre Peter.
Yeah.
Maybe it's best to go with the tried and tested players that have already been there and performed, like Lewis Young.
Okay, so we all agree that. So the one that we all agree, we know is Wiedering out, Marchbank in.
So Marchbank and Young, with the assistance of Plowman and guys like that in the back line, will probably be sufficient.
Okay. Yep. So then we're all saying that Kennedy comes back.
Yep.
Yes, and I'm saying for Dow.
So you're saying for Dow. I'm going to say, because I don't like him, Jack Nunes, but I'll get shit for that. And then
who are you going to play on the right wing if you get rid of Nunes?
I'll have a crack.
No,
not you.
Who are you going to replace Jack Nunes? This is the point. You
Jack
can't
Martin.
just say,
Jack Martin.
Come on, he's not a winger.
What? Well, neither is Nunes. Nunes is a forward.
I'm sorry, he is a winger, and he does enough to justify his position in most weeks. I'll make a bet with you, Jack. Nunes will not be dropped.
No, I know he won't. I want him dropped. I know he won't.
I don't believe he will be because he doesn't deserve to be dropped.
You've got Cotterill. He can play the wing. There you go. There's your right wingman, Matthew Cotterill. Problem solved. Nunes, you're out.
All right.
Jack Martin in for probably Carroll, one of Carroll Motlop. I know he will play Lana, but you know how much I dislike him.
You're never gonna rest until they've killed him off. You're gonna call him. He's going to be the new cockroach in the team.
Isn't he playing well? Jeez, imagine we could have played him down back.
No, let's not go there. He's at Gold Coast now, Levi Casbolt. He used to be the cockroach, but now I think it's Nunes. He's taken over the mantle.
So I'm going to go here. Lana wants to know why I don't like Nunes, right? I'll tell you why. I watched him a few times play at St Kilda, right? This guy has played nearly 200 league games, right? And he still makes basic fundamental errors. If he was any good, St Kilda wouldn't have let him go, right? He didn't go because of money. He left because he got delisted. Now, I know that different coach, different searches. He's one of these players, even at Carlton, he plays one good game, justifies his position for 3 or 4 weeks, gives you 3 or 4 weeks average games, just when he's about to get dropped, he shows a little bit, and the coaches go, "Oh, well, he's played well last week." Me and Brad are on the same page. I love you, Brad. He's a spud, right? And he's not even a good spud. It's a personal opinion. I don't bag him because
don't get me wrong,
wearing a
Joe.
jumper.
I'm not saying that Jack Nunes is part of the future Carlton Premiership team. I'm not. But if you're going to judge people on their performance rather than, how you feel about them.
I'm judging him on his performance.
Well, no, the club selection committee and coaches would be doing that. And most of the time he's keeping his spot in the side. Well, most of the time.
I don't know.
He's probably not the ideal player on the wing. I think Carlton still has... Look, I still think Carlton has issues on the wings. I don't think Jack Nunes or Lockie O'Brien are dead set, lock-ins for those positions going forward. If we can recruit a couple of good wingers at the end of this year, their positions are vulnerable, both O'Brien and Nunes.
I'll put this to you then, right? So on the half-back flank, you've got Sard, right? And you've probably got Plowman at centre half-back.
Yeah.
And then who's on the other one?
Lewis Young.
No, the guy that we got from the Swans, not George Hewitt, the other guy, Nick Newman.
Yeah.
Right. Why can't you play Doherty on a wing?
Well, you can.
Well, there's your right-hand wingman.
But they're playing Doherty in the back line together with Plowman and Sard and Newman and Young, and it was Wiedering, but now it'll be Marchbank. And there's your back six. Who else are you going to have in your back six?
Well, who's playing there at the moment? You got Stocker.
I just said it. Stocker probably comes off the bench, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Stocker's another one of those players that we all love him and we love what he brings to the table in terms of his aggression. And the minute there's a bit of a stoush with the opposition, he's in there and he's flying the flag, and we love that about him. But from a pure football point of view, I still don't know whether they've really worked out what his role is. Yeah,
I don't think so either.
Is he a backman? Is he a midfielder? Is he a winger? What is he?
Maybe someone can tell us, because I know Brody. But what about Brody Kemp? Is another one. I mean, we could have picked up.
But he hasn't been doing enough.
I know we could have got Conning's brother, but someone can tell me: is he a backman?
Who
did we draft? Brody Kemp.
Yes.
Did we draft? Okay.
Yes.
So I know he's only young, so that's his role, right? But I don't.
But he's also a bit of a utility. He can play forward as well as back. He's one of these players that can be put up forward if you need him.
I know Stocker was playing midfield at Haileybury College.
Sure.
Right? He was captain of the Big Metro.
But you see, what you got to understand is our midfield is pretty much set. I mean,
no, I know, but
that's why Dow hasn't been getting a game all year, because you've now got not just Cripps and Walsh, but you've also added Hewitt and Chera to that midfield, and Matthew Kennedy's grown a leg. So all of a sudden, there's your top five midfielders, and they're getting 30 possessions each every week, just about. No wonder there's no role for Paddy Dow in there, and I don't think there's a role for Stocker or anyone else, to be honest. I think they're playing him back and, on and off the bench, but basically rotating with the Newmans and those types off the bench. I think that's where Stocker's been playing mostly.
I like Stocker. He's hard. He's very hard. But hang on. Here's Jacob is saying, Martin, Cripps, Hewitt, mids. See that Walsh and Chera on the wings. See, now Martin's one that gets me. He just doesn't look fit.
Martin? Did he suggest that Martin should be in the middle of the ground? Hasn't got the tank. Hasn't got the engine. No.
But he played there at Gold Coast, didn't he?
He just doesn't have it.
I think he got carried by Tuke Miller
A little bit like Zach Williams. Zach Williams got recruited and paid on the basis that he was going to be turned into some elite midfielder. He's not an elite midfielder. He's just a good, solid halfback flanker. Now,
and they should leave him there.
And there's another one that could come back into the side once he's over his injuries. But,
no, I don't think we'll see him again this year.
Well, we don't know that. I think they're. I know
that. Yeah, I hope he does. I like him, but
I think they're hoping that he comes back.
Jack Martin looks buggered after running 20 minutes.
Well, again, he does some flashy things that keeps your hopes up about him, but he also goes missing for 2 3/4 of the game.
Yeah. So back to this. So we all agree there's going to be about 3 or 4 changes. I think the team comes in tomorrow, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Because we're Friday night.
So, Beachy, give us your ins and outs quickly.
In, Marchbank already confirmed. Out, Wiedering already confirmed. In, Energy. Out, Dow.
Yeah.
And probably in Martin or Carroll.
Okay.
And you got to drop one more because then you got to pick the injury sub.
No, good.
Yes, you do. You have 3 in and 4 out, and then eventually one of the emergencies gets put back in.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great one.
Oh, well.
So what you're saying is Carroll, who was the injury sub last week, comes out.
Yes.
So who are you going to bring in for Martin? So who are you going to leave out of the side for Martin is the question.
Honestly, I'm not sure now. I mean,
I'd say Motlop. I think they've given him a taste. And they're going to just say to him, "Don't rush it. He's a young boy. Your time will come. Go back. Own your craft."
You know what? Yeah, but you know what? It probably is Jesse, and it's not his fault.
No, it's not, and it's either Motlop or Rowies.
I agree with Peter. It's either Motlop or Rowies, one or the other.
Because Corey,
I think 3 of them.
Fantastic.
Corey Durden's been playing probably the best out of those 3 on a consistent basis. I just think that there's just a bit too many of them. 3 in the one team. You know, they probably just didn't do enough between the 3 of them against Collingwood, and that concerns me.
We need the 3 amigos back.
If Curnow doesn't kick a bag, you are relying on those small forwards to kick the others on the hole.
Oh, there's one. If Harry's fit, do we bring him in? Who are you going to drop for Harry?
Well, that's the other thing.
So probably Owies.
Of course, you're going to bring him in.
Well, then you'd probably drop out Owies. Who else?
Yeah.
You can't drop Jack Silvani. You know, you can't do a like for like.
No, you can't. But that's where probably, one of those guys like you mentioned, Nunes or Cottrell, might have to come out.
Yeah, probably. Now, to your comment before, Vince, about who are we selling and who are we not selling? Let's take this alphabetical, right? I'll give you the name, and then you tell me.
All right, we'll just say keep or trade.
Okay, so if you can't see me...
and the assumption is if you can't trade them, you're going to delist them.
Yeah, okay.
So keep or trade.
Okay, so the first one, I'm doing this alphabetical. Caleb Marchbank, for me, it's a keep.
Keep.
Too talented. I mean, I know he's had a lot of injuries, but he's been worth the wait.
Okay.
Yep.
I think he'll pay us back in spades. Go on.
Next one. David Cunningham. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Joe, before you go on. Lana, I just want to clarify, we're not dropping Jack Silvani. You have taken that out of context. That's
No, I said you can't drop him. I said you can't drop him, Lana.
No one is she just about had kittens after that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, none of us are suggesting to drop Jack. No way. No. Too valuable.
Okay, so
next one. David, sorry, because I'm on a different page.
Okay, so David Cunningham, who's been out for nearly 12 months now with a knee injury.
Do you know something? What I'd do with David Cunningham? I'd probably put him as a rookie because I know he's talented, but
how many years do you want to tolerate injury?
Yeah, exactly. He's always injured, so
maybe they do with him what they did with Matthew Kennedy. Put him on the rookie list.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know. What about you two? Beachy?
Yeah, I'm keeping, but like you, I would
Okay.
probably drop
Well,
it.
what
I'll
I-
drop into that.
Yeah. If you had to make a decision on him right now,
Yeah.
you'd say he's not on the senior list, but maybe you retain him as a rookie.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to have my mind changed on that, depending on what he does for the second half of the year.
Brad, I know he's quick and I know he's a gun, but he's always bloody injured. And
Yes.
Just when he was starting, consistency. I saw him as a junior.
I'd love to see him come back in the second half of the year, play a few VFL games, and then get back into the seniors and show us what he's
Didn't
capable
mind
of.
one against Essendon too, did Cunners? Didn't mind
Yes.
that at all.
So Brad's keeping him. All right. Anyone else? Feel free to.
Very talented footballer when he's right.
Baggers. Next one, Edward Curnow. I think he will retire.
That's a retirement.
I think he'll retire. Or
Yes,
he
I think
he may stay in the VFL team.
Now, quick question on this, without taking forever on it. Would you, if Ed Curnow, I'm not sure how he's going with his injury, but let's just say it gets towards the end of the year and he's able to play, but only sort of just get around in the VFL. Would you give him a send-off game or not?
Yeah, well, it depends on where we are and how vital the game is. The
last game of the year is Collingwood. It's going to be a crucial game for positions in the 8.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If positioning on the ladder doesn't matter, I'd probably give him a game as the medical sub. But I tend to agree with Brad. Nah, football's too cutthroat these days.
Yeah.
It's just too cutthroat.
If anything, you announce your retirement, Ed, and you have a parade around the MCG in a car, and we say thanks very much for your years of service. He has been a great stalwart, a great club man, and one hell of a nice guy.
Yes.
Anyway.
Next. Ed Curnow.
Yes, I think we're all saying retire him, aren't we? Yeah.
Jack Nunes.
Jack Nunes. Well, we know what you think. We know what you think, Joe. Trade him or delist him.
Well, no one to take him.
What do you think, Beachy? Now you're rating him as of now, after round 11, halfway through the year, after the 22 games have been played. Does he deserve to keep his spot on the list or not?
I just want to say one thing. There's one comment and there's another.
Bye-bye.
I rest my case, Your Honour.
Okay.
I've just called my 2-star witnesses, and
I've got the gavel, and I'm saying he's staying on.
What?
You're staying on, Jack Nunes.
Peter, Brad, on. we're gonna have to lodge an appeal. Anyway, okay.
Look, I'll tell you what. This Jack Nunes turns. If he hasn't already turned 30, I think he'll be 30 soon.
He turns 30 this year, Vince.
Yeah. Now.
What an old
30's not old. He's still probably got, 3 years left in him. But I believe the decision should be made to replace Jack Nunes with someone better on the wing. So my view is
invest in youth.
Thanks, Jack, but you're taking up position. You're taking up a spot in that team that we should be developing someone else.
Yeah,
who's capable of doing better.
Exactly. Don't let the door hit you in the back of the head on the way out, mate. Okay, enough about Jack Nunes. The next one is Jordan Boyd. I'm not a big rap for Jordan. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's an interesting one. This one. What do you think, Beachy?
Well, Brad Turner here says list clogger.
Couldn't agree more. Needs some.
Well, funnily enough, he was one of our 2 mid-season draftees last year, along with the big ruckman Alex Murkoff.
Yep.
Who hasn't had a senior berth yet. At least Jordan Boyd's made it into the seniors. Played probably, 4 or 5 games at least?
But the Merkin's a lot. They said he's a long-term project. So, but anyway.
Forget him. I'm talking about Jordan Boyd.
A list clogger. Another one that's taking up a spot that we could be developing.
Yeah. Well, has he been given enough opportunity or not?
Well,
Well, he hasn't played since we played Adelaide at Marvel, if you want to call it that, from memory.
Yeah. Nah, bye.
Limited ability?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jack, he can hold the door open for Jack Noon so they can let themselves both out. Next one, I don't know enough about this guy. He has played Josh Honey. Showed potential.
Yeah. Yes.
Hasn't played since last year.
The list
Hasn't played since last year.
Out. Gone. Hang on. This is a good comment. I like this one.
Poor man's Aaron Joseph. Oh, come on, that's a bit rough.
AJ was actually okay.
Aaron Joseph, the little Tasmanian, he was a nuggety little back pocket type player, really.
He was actually okay.
I know Brett Ratton had a lot of faith in Aaron Joseph, especially as a tagger. But we're going back 10, 12 years ago now.
Gina's keeping him.
Yeah, I'd keep Honey. I think he showed enough.
I would too.
Yeah.
Gina, maybe we could use him up at Yarrawonga or something in the resis or something. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with
okay.
Jacob. Yeah. Fabio says Honey's good. Now we know who Lano is in.
Honey is sweet.
Aaron Joseph.
Honey is sweet. Yep. Okay.
Anyway. All right, well.
So who else was on the who else was part of that 15 players? I don't think we've done 15.
I'm getting to it. No, I'm getting to it.
What about number 8?
I'm doing myself a bit. The next one on my list is Lachlan Fogarty.
That's the one. So I was about to say number 8.
Gone.
Go back to Geelong.
Yeah, he hasn't really impressed, has he? I think he's struggling. Yep. Probably a D-list. Or trade. Trade or D-list. Yep.
No, who'd want him? No, we might get a packet of chips and a Mars bar. That's about it.
Now, Lockie O'Brien's contract comes to an end, does it? Or has he been given an extension, BT?
Jordan or Josh Allen. Lockie Plowman. The next one is Liam Stocker.
Keep him.
Definitely keep Liam Stocker. Yeah.
And the one after that is Lockie O'Brien.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And
so
based on what he's done so far this year, I would say he's a keep.
Yeah, I would too.
I think he deserves at least another year.
Yeah, I do too. Brad Turner's right. You've seen Lance Whitnell's kid. Looks like a gun. And a key defender. Yeah, we're all the crew are all keeping Lockie O'Brien.
Well, he would be the third generation Whitnell. Of course, Lance's dad, Graham, unfortunately passed away recently.
Yeah,
a few months back. Yeah. And by the way, gentlemen, one of the things I should mention, or we should mention on the show, is our sincere condolences to the Lloyd family, first of all.
Yes.
John Lloyd, former Carlton player back in the 60s, played 29 games for Carlton between 65 and 67. Father of Matthew Lloyd, of course, who played 270 games for Essendon. I think he kicked about 926 goals. Wore the number 18. He wore the same number 18 that John wore for Carlton. And, of course, he's also got two other sons, Simon, who's at Geelong, and Brad Lloyd, who's the general manager of football at Carlton. So, our condolences to the Lloyd family. I believe the funeral is tomorrow. And the other one I thought I'd mention is big condolences go to Rod Ashman on the sudden passing of his wife, Kayleen. They had the funeral today. Today or yesterday? Yesterday. Yesterday it was. And, very, very sad. They were, a fantastic couple. And apparently the turnout at the funeral, I couldn't make it, unfortunately, but it was huge. And many Carlton past players and past coaches, etc., were there to honour Rod's wife, Kayleen, and to support Rod. Condolences to Rod Ashman.
Next on my list, Luke Parks.
Yep. Sorry, I'm a D list on Luke Parks, a trade or D list because I just don't know that he's AFL standard. I just don't think he is.
I'm undecided.
Matt, what's his name? David Rees-Jones likes him for some reason.
Probably because he wears the 26.
Yeah, I'm with Peter and Vince. Parks D-list or trade. Yeah, he's not up to it. Hasn't developed. Agree. Next on my list,
he's unfortunately had an injury since I think he played 1 or 2 games earlier this year, but and then got an injury that's keeping him out for 12 weeks. So pretty harsh on him. But sometimes football, it's a cutthroat business. If you get an injury at the wrong time of year, keeps you out for more than half the season, and sometimes you don't get another opportunity to show your wares. But if Luke Parks is any good, he'll probably have to show it somewhere else.
Yeah. Yep. Next on my list is Matt Cottrell.
Matt Cottrell. That's a very good question, Matt Cottrell.
I think he's done enough to... I'm not a big fan of his, but I think he's shown enough to keep.
Yeah, I think he's just a keep. If someone was asking me probably at the end of 2021...
I'd have got rid of him.
Yeah, I would have just... I would have thrown him in the camp and go.
You know what I'm noticing? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm seeing? Regardless of our own individual opinions of him, I think Michael Voss likes him. I think he's playing him purely because he can see the endeavour, the level of commitment and dedication, and I think he likes that and respects that. And players that do the hard yards and really do. Do the gut running, because the guy does a lot of gut running, and I think that's what's being respected about Matt Cottrell. He's at least really putting in. So, yeah, I'm a bit 50-50 about him too. But, yeah, there'd be worse players that you'd be keeping on your list than him.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just putting up the comments. He's improved. I think he's improved. The next one is Owies.
Matt Owies.
I'd
keep Matt Owies.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah. I'd keep Matt Owies. He's certainly doing enough to hold his position in the team at the moment. So unless they drop him for the Essendon game, as 1 or 2 of us suspect may happen, if he's keeping his spot in the side, why would you delist him? You don't delist players that are holding a regular spot.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Brad thinks bye-bye to Matt Owies. He's not a fan, is he?
No.
Well.
That's all right. We're all entitled to an opinion. Matt Owies, where is it? Matt Owies. The next one on my list, Oscar McDonald.
As much as I like Oscar McDonald and thought that he showed a bit of promise in the very early parts of last season and this season, he keeps getting injured. It keeps becoming a season-ending back injury this time. I don't think we'll see him again back at Carlton. I think he'll be delist.
I think Oscar's gone.
I think he's in trouble too.
I think he's delist.
Brad's saying Owies is a poor man's news. Jeez, not even that bad. Or Oman too injured.
I like it, Brad. You must be having a good chuckle back there in his lounge room.
Bye-bye, Oscar.
Yeah, I think Oscar McDonald's gone. You can't keep a bloke on the list like him. He just keeps getting injured.
Next.
Is McGovern at the end of his contract?
No, I'll tell you those.
He's not.
I'll tell you the 2023.
He's got 1 more year.
1 more year, has he? Jeez, he's lucky he has. Otherwise, he might have been on the Oscar McDonald train straight out of Princes Park.
Feel for Omac, who did I say?
Tom Williamson.
Tom Williamson.
Oh, yes, well, Tom.
No,
look. Put aside his mental issues. No, I think if he doesn't get back into the side and establish himself, and this exercise is based on what they've done up until now. So based on what he's done up until now, I'm sorry, but I think Tom Williamson is a trade or do this at the end of this year.
another one I might be willing to put on the rookie list.
Peter reckons keep him for depth. Well, we've been doing that for 5 or 6 years. I think it's probably time. And in fairness to Tom, it's stuffing him around too.
Yeah.
He's probably better off going to somewhere as a fresh start. He might be given a more regular opportunity on the wing or halfback flank, wherever he plays his best football. Sometimes it's best even for the player to have a fresh start somewhere else.
We'll get to that, Lana, in a minute because I've only got one more player to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Will Setterfield.
Gone.
Will.
I think Jack
I'm sorry, but to me, he just does not show
urgency.
Look, I'm sure he's trying. Okay, they all try.
No, they all try.
But his body language doesn't ooze enthusiasm and endeavour and effort the same way that a Matt Cottrell does, for example. It just looks like he's ambling around out there, and it just doesn't have any urgency or any real spark about him. I just, to me, he's a very frustrating footballer.
I'll tell you what, Brad's got a good memory.
Willow's
and Blaine Bokers. What about?
I thought he was going to say that. What about that blonde kid that came from Western Australia? What was his name? That number 21.
Bojo Rainbow or something?
No, not. But what's that? Oh, Bootsma. That's the one. Josh Bootsma. Remember him?
What about that Dylan Vojo Rainbow?
No, Dylan Vojo Rainbow was actually a very talented young footballer who never got a chance at senior level, but went on to play some really good football at Port Melbourne and won best and fairest out there, I think, in a premiership. So
I'm going to put up a comment. 2 comments.
Never got an opportunity with us.
Jacobs hit it in 2 comments about Setterfield. No intensity, no balls. Enough said. That's it. Now, of the players in 2023, Brody Kemp, Charlie Curnow.
These are the ones that are coming out of contract at the end of 23. Yeah. I don't think we need to waste time on those.
No, but
if they've got a contract, they've got a contract.
No, I'm just going to read them out because people are talking about McGovern.
Well, Brody Kemp would want to have a good year next year, wouldn't he?
Brody Kemp.
He'd really want to have a good year next year.
Charlie Curnow, Dominic Akui. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, Dominic Akui is. He's like a rookie player.
Yeah, Harry McKay, Jack Silvani, Jesse Motlop, Lockie Plowman, Lewis Young, Mark Pitternet or Pitterno, depending where you come from.
Pitternet, yeah.
Mitch McGovern, Paddy Dow, Sam Philp, Tom DeConning, Zach Fisher. So anyway,
that's actually quite a big list.
Well, Sam Philp would want to put his best foot forward. Otherwise, he's history.
Who was the guy we drafted about pick 40 the same year as Willow? I don't know.
Who?
Not sure.
Pick 40?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Just quickly go through those names again.
Philp is
well, McGovern's another one who'd want to have a full season and play well. Otherwise, see you later to Mitch McGovern.
I don't understand this, Lana. Dom is Pom's boy.
Yeah,
Dom who?
Dom McCooey. She's talking about Dom McCooey. He's the African boy.
Yeah.
Who plays with number 41, I think, on his back, doesn't he?
Probably.
Is it the 40?
I think he took Levi's number.
What Lana is saying is that Dan Williams, Pommy and Oz, aka Pommy and Oz, actually sponsors him.
Oh, okay.
Sponsors.
Sponsors.
Okay,
cool. Philp is interesting. Yeah, I don't know enough about him. Philpy needs some.
Look, he's another player, a little bit like Cunningham, who has got some real ability, but does get injured a lot and can't seem to get some continuity going. And these guys really need to start playing regular football, preferably senior football, to be able to get themselves another contract. Otherwise, it's history.
But the thing is, I mean, you can drop 15 players, but I don't think you get 15 selections at the draft, do you? So, I mean,
but you can trade. You can pick up players in the national draft as well as the pre-season draft, of course. So you can draft a whole stack of players. Yeah, absolutely, you can.
Fabio's right. This is what usually happens at most clubs. They delist and pick up 6 or 7 players, don't they? They usually.
Well, look, there was a period of time there for many, many years before. I think it was last year that we didn't really have too many changes. Before that, nearly every year I can go through the Carlton list, and they had either through retirements, players that were traded, or players that were delisted, at least 12 players every year that were off the list, either through retirement, trading, or delisting.
Yeah.
And 12 new faces out of 45 or 46. That's roughly 25% of your list.
Okay. Well, that's. I think that's what the teams usually do, isn't it? They normally look at 25%.
Yeah.
So, guys, we've been on the air for an hour and a bit.
Okay.
Prediction
for the Essendon game.
So, I know you. Oh, Lana says you're going to make at least 4. And Brad, do you know we had the chance to pick up Tom de Koning's brother, but we took Brody Kemp instead. So I hope Brody Kemp turns out to be better. I'm going to go Carlton 30 points.
Okay. Carlton by 5 goals for Joe.
Peter's saying Blues
Beachy?
by 4.
Blues by 28 points.
Okay, so you're all around that 4 to 5 goals.
Which is not a lot.
Lana thinks closer to 6.
Gina says 15 points. 3 goals is not a lot.
That's a lot closer.
I agree with Brad. Just win. I agree, Brad.
We don't care how much by. Look, I do think Essendon will come out and try and at least put up a performance that their supporters can be proud of, because they are celebrating their 150th anniversary. So I'm not expecting an easy time of it out there, but I do expect to beat Essendon. I think we're a classier side than Essendon. And yes, we will miss Wiedering, but Marchbank back in, I think, will be a good addition. Whether Harry plays, I think if Harry plays, it'll be a huge bonus for us. But even if he doesn't, I think our forward line can still do enough to win. Look, I don't expect to win by much. I'm saying Carlton by 18 points.
Okay, all right.
3 goals.
So before we sign off, just a quick thank you to everyone who's watched the show. Spread the word. Before the show, Vince suggested that maybe we have a weekly segment. I don't know what on. So if anyone's got any ideas, please send them to me on the Facebook page. So don't forget to like and subscribe to Facebook. Like and subscribe us in the blue corner on
and YouTube, of course.
Don't forget to support all the other people who do it. Heath Buck on Bucky's Blue Heaven. You got
my Blue Heaven for Heath Buck.
Blue Heaven. Yeah, you got the boys
Jumper
at
Punch.
Abroad, Jumper Punch.
Tuesdays at 8 o'clock.
Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. And Terry does a good job with all the other shows. You got Pommy in Oz, who's he's a bit too statistical for me. I'm a bit old school, but I know people like stats, so that's good. Anyone else that I've missed? And there's a Carlton Live.
Hello.
Sunday
night.
I'm getting to that.
You are, eh? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the other shows on the other channels. Is there any? I know there's a lot of them. There's some podcasts and.
One of you is scratching your It might be me. Scratching the microphone. Is that right?
It's not me.
Yep.
No, anyway.
It's
okay. And last but not least, you got Steve and Vince on Monday this week, not Sunday.
Normally Sunday at 8 o'clock. This week, because of the Queen's birthday long weekend, we're going to do it on the Monday night after the Collingwood-Melbourne game. Yep. So I think Steve might have plans as well on Sunday night. So we thought we'd make it at the end of the round. So we'll at least know the results of all 6 games before we have our 1 hour program. And There will be some interesting topics discussed, I can assure you, on that show at 8 o'clock as we also analyse some of the issues at AFL level.
Please explain, Chris. Chris looks a little ripped. It's Chris.
I don't know what he's on about there, boys. But anyway,
ripped normally means that you've got your muscles showing. You've been in the gym and you've got those biceps out. But I can't see your biceps,
mate,
Chris.
I don't have any of that. Don't have any of it anyway.
No
unless he's suggesting that you look a little bit ripped in a different way.
Yeah, maybe you've been.
Oh, who knows? Who knows, boys?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, everyone. Chris always looks magnificent in that lovely study of his with the library behind him, and he reminds me of Batman or Robin in the Batcave at Gotham City.
How many more nicknames can we give him? You want to call him Alfred?
I know, boys, come on.
Hang on, hold up the can, Beachy. You're a solo man.
Yep. Yeah. Now, just all you got to do now is do what the commercial, like the bloke in the commercial, pour it all on top of your head.
I want the hot blonde to come out. I forgot she was married to Albie Mangles. What was her name?
Oh God,
Jesus Christ.
Albie Mangles.
Yeah.
Judy Green.
Yeah, Judy Green. Yeah, that's her. Anyway.
There you go. There's a blast from the past.
So, guys, thanks a lot, and go Blues.
It's a pleasure.
And we will see. This is what I think he means. Solo and Cones. Is there a better way to spend a Wednesday evening, Beachy?
It's good.
Anyway,
that time, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see. Hang on, rip your shirt off, Beachy.
Oh, God.
All right, see you all.
Chris, you're going to become the sex symbol of Carlton social media very soon.
Oh, let's not go there that early. It's only 9:15.
I'm a beachaholic.
Yes, we all love our Beachy, that's for sure.
All right, then.
All right, boys.
Stay, boys. Stay.
Good on you.
Go Blues.
Go Blues.